This 4-season off-road teardrop camper is the Topo 2 by Escapod. Today, I'm going to give you a full tour of this small travel trailer. This video is sponsored by Escapod. Let's start off with some of the dimensions of this small teardrop camper. It is 13.5 feet long, 80.5 inches tall, and 84 inches wide. This comes in just under 2,000 pounds depending on your options and has a GVWR of 3,500 pounds, which means it can be towed by a wide variety of vehicles. At the front of this small camper trailer, they have a neat feature which is a removable coupler. What's nice about this is you can switch from a fully articulating coupler to a 2-inch ball if you need to. It's also a security feature. So when you get to camp, you remove this, put it in your tow car, and now there's no coupler for someone to drive off with your camper. Here we can see the hot dipped galvanized steel frame. This is built in-house by Escapod and is one of the very cool features about this camper, because they were able to take a lot of weight out of the frame by making the actual body of this a one-piece composite shell that's actually a structural member of this trailer. There's an integrated tongue box that is lockable. Inside is where the 11-pound propane tank is, and then you can strap things down using the L-track. There's also a light to see your stuff at night. There are rock guards to protect the camper when you're going off-road. And speaking of off-road, this has off-road tires along with their proprietary free-ride independent suspension system. Now, this particular camper also has the optional drum brakes. On the roof, there's a roof rack for things like bikes, kayaks, and that. But if you're bringing along extra people, you can put a rooftop tent on there so 2 people can sleep inside and 2 people can sleep up on the roof. Kate and I got the opportunity to spend the night in this small travel trailer. And one of the features we found extremely helpful when going to the bathroom in the middle of the night was the rock light underneath. We left it on all night long so we could find our way back to the trailer. There is also a porch light on both sides, and then your fresh water fill. At the back of the trailer, there are stabilizing jacks, 140 watts of solar, 2-inch receiver hitch, and this is your outdoor kitchen. Kate and I got the opportunity this morning to make breakfast back here, along with our coffee and tea, using the 2-burner gas stove, and down below is room for all of your utensils. There's a small cubby for rags and a spice rack, and then a nice sized stainless steel countertop along with a stainless steel sink. Now, there are 21 gallons of fresh water on board. For hot water, there is a Truma Combi system. This is your furnace and hot water heater running off of the propane on board. Now, in terms of a gray tank, there isn't one. So the water from the sink will drain right out of the side, and you can hook up a bag or a bucket or something to catch that water if you need to. One of the things I really love about this small teardrop is how Escapod has integrated a bunch of features into it that kind of stay hidden away. Like this cutting board. It's magnetized in along with your knives. Now, we got to use these last night during our cookout and it came in really handy. Next to that is the outdoor table that I got to sit at this morning while I had my breakfast and coffee. Just undo this. Table comes out. And now you're all set up, and if you're off level, you can adjust the height of the table. Now, there's so much more to the galley. The material they've used for all of these panels is a HDPE plastic, which is what they use in marine applications. What I like about all of this is these shelves are adjustable, so you can pull these out and manipulate them however you need to fit your stuff. Also, you can pull all of this out to access your battery system. Now, this has one 100 amp hour lithium battery. You can upgrade to 2, but you can access it through here without the use of tools. You can also access your Truma Combi system without tools by going in through this panel. Light switch for the kitchen. There is a white and red LED and your water pump switch. There is a 120 outlet for the kitchen. Now, in order to use the outlet, you either need to add the optional 2000 watt inverter or run a generator or be plugged into shore power. For all of your food and drinks, there is a 12 volt ARB fridge freezer. We do have some clouds rolling in, which reminded me about the fact that this top will protect the kitchen area during rain. And what will happen is the water will come off the back, and there's a gutter system that's integrated into this, so the water will run off to the sides and not into your kitchen. There is an outdoor shower. Here is the outlet and temperature control for your shower. And the shower wand gets magnetized to the side of the camper. Now here's another feature I used quite often last night. There is a nice sized awning and this additional screened in room that you can attach to the awning. Now what was great about this was coming out of the camper at night, I could leave my clothes in there, put my clothes on, and then go to the restroom. It was also a nice place that if you had a portable toilet, you could put it in there, use this as your bathroom or just a place to change, kind of like a mud room to come in, take your clothes off, and then go into the camper. So this is a very nice addition. Okay, enough of the outside of the camper. Let's go on inside. There are entry doors on both sides of the camper so that when you're sleeping, you don't have to crawl over someone to get in or out of the camper. I'm not a big fan of tight spaces, so I was a little hesitant when we decided that we were going to spend the night in this. However, once you're in here, you realize how roomy it is with the windows, the big skylight above me, and there is 43 inches of headroom in here. So I can easily sit up in bed, lay back, look at the stars, and really enjoy the space. The bed itself is a 60 by 80 queen size bed. And what they've done is added an additional 6 inches on each side to the camper. So if you're sleeping at the edge of the bed, you're not leaning up against the wall, which is nice. The skylight does open. There's this first notch here if you just want to use it as a vent, or you can open it up to let a lot of light and air through. At the head of the bed is a nice sized storage bin that's fairly deep, and this is the cover for the skylight. This is the screened option, and this is the Nightshade. On both sides of the bed, there are 2 USB plugs, inductive charging, cup holder, and more storage. On both sides of the bed, there are ducts for the furnace. So here's that 6-inch gap I was talking about between the edge of the bed and the wall. Now there's a little cubby down here that last night Kate was using this to store her shoes so that she didn't have to leave them outside. This is one of the outlets for the Truma furnace. What I love here is the little topo map they've done and just the attention to detail. They've done fun little things like this around the camper, and it's nice to see them as you're walking around. There's also a small hanging closet with a couple hooks for your shirts and jackets. Here's a storage cabinet. There is one on each side of the bed. And in the middle, if you pull these two open, and this is some more storage, bring this down, you have another storage cabinet, but you also have a tray if you want to put a laptop or tablet, something to watch a movie at night while you're in here relaxing. Here's the SimMarine system. What's nice is at a quick glance, you can see the battery percentage, time, and scroll through here to see your fresh tank level, and it gives you an approximation as to how many gallons you have left. Next to that, this would be where the switch was for the inverter, if this camper had one installed. Interior lights, these are dimmable. The exterior porch lights and the rock lights I showed you earlier. And behind here, the battery disconnect, Zamp solar charge controller, and the controls for the Truma Combi. And finally, there is a max air vent. They do offer a 12-volt AC unit, which if you get the dual battery option, can run in optimal conditions about 10 to 12 hours. One of the features you can't see is the fact that the Topo 2 is 4-season capable. The reason for this is the water tank and water lines are all inside of the camper. They've plumbed the furnace into the water cabinet as well as the battery cabinet. Then there are the 4 vents inside the camper. Now, last night for us, it only got down to the low 40s, but it was still pretty cold. When we came in here and fired up that furnace, we were both toasty hot, and it stayed warm all night long. Now, the thing Kate and I have really noticed about this after spending some time in it and sleeping in it last night is just the overall build quality and attention to detail. We think they've done a very good job, and it shows. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite subject, price. Escapod is releasing a new trim level of the Topo 2 that will start just under $34,000. This version with all the options it has is just over $48,000. I'd love to know what y'all think of this small teardrop travel trailer down in the comments below, but that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want to see more walkthroughs and learn about small travel trailers, head on over to our website at we'retherussos.com, and we'll see you next time. Bye.